I figured out the one thing that prevents real estate agents from having to go get a job during a down market. And this exact same thing actually helped us at the Iconic Agent not have to shut down and go get jobs during down markets. Because since we have an audience of real estate agents, we also rely on real estate agents selling and the market being good. But when the market's down, what do? I've had conversations on the phone with several people recently. Some of them are clients, some of them are prospective clients. And one of the things I noticed, I had a call with a gentleman the other day, and we're talking, and we're just going through it. And it's very easy for people to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna do this, and I got this, and I got this deal, and I got all these 12 listings here. I got these 3 listings, and da da da." But then, as we're having conversation, because we have very real and transparent conversation, it's like, "Yeah, I've got these 4 listings, but they're not moving." Okay, so you're telling people you've got all these listings. You're telling me you've got all these listings, and you finally omitted the what was actually true. They're not moving. Okay, so who cares if you have 4 listings if you're not selling them? You don't want. I had a conversation with another client. One of their peers has 12 listings, and normally we're like, "Oh, 12 listings. Why do you have 12 listings? How long have those listings been on the market?" "Oh, they've been on the market like 60 days, 90 days. That's a problem. 12 listings doesn't matter unless you're selling them. Now, just as I had this conversation with this gentleman, this is a recurring conversation I've been having, and he's like, "Well, yeah, this is a bad year, man. Like, I'm not getting sales. I've only had like 4 sales this year. Might have to get a job." And then I talked to a couple other people, and they're like, "Yeah, it's not really that. This is a down market. Like, it's just hard. Like, my sphere's broke. They're not buying, or they're waiting for the interest rates to drop, and there's just all of this energy that's just like a draining energy." And I totally get it, because yes, from a resale perspective, even top producers are seeing less production. It's slower, so you have to learn how to pivot or do something different. Focus on revenue generating activities. And as I'm having this conversation with him, I'm thinking of another conversation I had with 3 of our clients. And I'm like, one guy's like, "Yeah," and we actually live in the same community. And he actually just moved over to the Iconic Agent Group, which is a new construction focused real estate, national real estate team that we're building. And talking to him, he's like, "Yeah, I had 4 sold. I sold 4 last week. I got another one coming up in like 2 weeks." Now, mind you, the homes in this area start at a minimum of about 400 grand. So I'm like, duh, 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 duh. That's damn near $100,000 in commissions. Talked to another partner of ours and client. He has a $900,000 listing. He's got another 2 or 3 deals coming through. Total night and day from what I'm hearing from a lot of the average agents. And, these guys, I've known them for years, and they've been doing their thing. Then I talked to another gentleman. He's like, "Yeah, this listing didn't move. It's kind of slow, but I've got people in there. We're constantly we're reaching out. We got some things moving. I got my team working on some things." And I'm like, okay, so there's a massive difference. Now, several years ago, when the market was a little slower before COVID hit, and then, at this point, our business slowed down because agents aren't making money. They're not investing in themselves because they're afraid. They're like, "I don't have the money. I need to hold on." That's not. Now, your brain is going to tell you that's when you should claw back and stop marketing. Here's the problem and the solution. We've been saying this for half a decade, actually more than half a decade. And this is what I just noticed. The differentiating factor between the agents that are doing better than most or doing really well now versus the agent, it's the same exact market, versus the agents that are struggling is one thing. The difference between the Iconic Agent and other marketing agencies or anyone that's worked with real estate agents is one thing: the pipeline. The agents that I mentioned that are either killing it or doing really well, and they're like, yeah, it's a little rougher, but I'm still good. They had a pipeline, and they've been building a pipeline for more than 2 years. Every month, they're building. They never turn it down. It's a slow market now. They don't turn it down. Some of them have ramped it up. Other ones are just keeping it flowing because they know January, February is going to pick up again and they're going to be more busy. The agents that are struggling are the ones that said, I'm going to wait to build my pipeline. I talk to folks so many times, agents that are like, I wish I did this sooner. I've been following you for like 2 years. Or it gets really tight money-wise and they're afraid and they have zero faith in themselves or they have zero faith in general. And they're like, oh my God, I don't know if it's going to work. And then they basically implode and they have to go get a job. They change careers or they just struggle, have to rely on their spouse, and deal with everything that comes along with that. Now, not having money, and I can tell you because I've been there, when you're struggling to pay your bills, it doesn't just impact your business. Stress on your body, stress on your relationships, stress on your spirituality, wondering, is this even a thing for you? The one solution to get that moving, the needle mover for any real estate agent, it's cliche now. We always hear pipeline, leads. You don't need leads, you need buyers. But you have to have a pipeline. The Iconic Agent would be out of business if we didn't have thousands of agents that we have access to and constantly stay in touch with. Give value, give information, and then boom, somebody buys. And we go back and look, you've been following us for like 3 years or 6 months. If we didn't do that, we'd be out of business. That's why agents are going out of business, because they're not following up your pipeline. The difference in the success and the struggle with agents that I've seen, and it's in the data, is the ones that are struggling less, because they might still be struggling a little bit, and struggle is totally different. I've sat in a room with multi-millionaires that said, yeah, we're struggling now. So it doesn't matter the amount of money that you make. Multi-millionaires struggle too until they don't. But the difference is there's a pipeline. They have buyers or potential buyers and prospects and leads that they can constantly educate, they can constantly provide value to, they can constantly reach out to. And agents are looking for I need a win now. That's not realistic. That's not how life is. That's much like, this is cliche, but we hear it a lot, going to the bar and being like, that's my wife, or going to church and be like, that's my wife. And she's gonna be my wife. Now that might be the case, and you'll be on like 90-day fiance, and then 6 months later you'll be divorced. But that's just not how life works. It's not but if you've been jaded by, I got a referral. That was a laid out sale. That's not how it goes. You have to have a pipeline. If you haven't started building your pipeline yet, you make it a priority if you want to continue being a real estate agent. There's just no way around it. When you have a scalable and predictable model to get in front of people and have more conversations, you can make more sales. But if you don't build that pipeline now, the market's always going to go up and down. Unless you like roller coasters and roller coaster commissions, you absolutely have to build a pipeline. If you struggle with that, the process that we teach is around new construction and luxury new construction. It's a guaranteed way to build a pipeline. It's not always a cheap pipeline, but it's a profitable pipeline if you keep moving and going with it. There's no way around it. You cannot be in real estate and be successful and compete if you don't have a pipeline. So wanted to share that today. If you don't have a pipeline, click on the links in this post, schedule some time to have a conversation. We will get you on the right track if you're a good fit. You got to be coachable. You have to listen and you have to be able to follow instructions, but we've got the blueprint. We will continue to share. Also, check out the podcast. We give away $100,000 a game in the podcast, but you got to build a pipeline.